The battlefield is changing, no longer the sole domain of human soldiers, it is increasingly populated by machines. Drones patrol the skies, unmanned vehicles patrol the ground, and now a new player emerges, the Slaughtorbot. This isn't science fiction, this is the terrifying reality of 21st century warfare, where autonomous weapons capable of killing without human intervention are no longer the stuff of dystopian nightmares, but a chilling reality. The development of these killer robots marks a profound shift in the nature of war. For centuries, human beings have been the ultimate arbiters of life and death on the battlefield. Now that power is being delegated to machines. This raises profound ethical and strategic questions that we as a global community are only just beginning to grapple with. The implications of this paradigm shift are far-reaching. As autonomous weapons become more sophisticated and widespread, they have the potential to fundamentally alter the balance of power. This could lead to a new arms race as nations scramble to gain an edge in this rapidly evolving technological landscape. The stakes couldn't be higher. The future of warfare, and indeed the future of humanity, may hang in the balance. China, a rising global superpower, is at the forefront of a technological revolution in warfare, investing heavily in AI and robotics. Its military rapidly develops autonomous weapons systems, raising global concerns. Western analysts warn these weapons could tip the balance of power. The world watches as China's killer robots become more sophisticated and deadly. The journey towards autonomous warfare began with drones. Initially, these unmanned aerial vehicles were primarily used for surveillance and reconnaissance. Over time, they became weaponized, transforming the nature of air power. Drones like the Predator and Reaper, armed with Hellfire missiles, became symbols of a new era of remote-controlled warfare. However, even these early armed drones required a human operator to make the final decision to fire. The development of Slaughterbots, as they have been dubbed, takes this concept a step further, removing the human from the loop entirely. These fully autonomous weapon systems are designed to identify, track and engage targets without any human intervention. The technologies underpinning these lethal machines are advancing at an alarming pace. Artificial intelligence, machine learning and facial recognition software are all being integrated into autonomous weapons systems, making them increasingly sophisticated and deadly. Some experts predict that it's only a matter of time before these machines surpass human capabilities in speed, precision and lethality. The development of these technologies raises profound ethical and legal questions. Should machines be given the power to decide who lives and who dies? Who is responsible when an autonomous weapon malfunctions or commits a war crime? These are complex questions with no easy answers. One of the most alarming aspects of autonomous weapons is their potential to escalate conflicts, potentially even sparking a global war. The speed and efficiency with which these machines can operate, coupled with the lack of human oversight, could lead to a rapid and uncontrollable escalation of violence. Imagine a scenario where two countries are engaged in a tense standoff. Both sides have deployed autonomous weapon systems along their borders. A minor incident occurs, perhaps a misunderstanding or a technical malfunction. An autonomous weapon programmed to respond instantly to perceived threats misinterprets the situation and launches an attack. The consequences could be catastrophic. The initial attack, even if unintentional, could trigger a retaliatory strike, setting off a chain reaction that quickly spirals out of control. With machines making the decisions, there is no room for human judgment, compassion or diplomacy. The speed and scale of the violence could quickly overwhelm any attempts at de-escalation. This scenario, while hypothetical, highlights the very real dangers posed by autonomous weapons. In a world on edge, where tensions are high and the potential for miscalculation is ever present, these weapons could be the spark that ignites a global conflagration. Can machines make life or death decisions? Autonomous weapons challenge our humanity and ethics. Can society condone machines making life and death decisions? Critics argue this reasoning is flawed and dangerous. Who is accountable if a machine commits a war crime? Section 6. The Global Arms Race, a dangerous game of catch-up. The development of autonomous weapons has sparked a new arms race, as nations around the world scramble to gain an edge in this rapidly evolving technological landscape. The fear is that this competition could lead to a dangerous proliferation of these weapons, making them more accessible to rogue states, terrorist organizations, or even criminal gangs. The United States, long a leader in military technology, is facing stiff competition from China and Russia, both of which are investing heavily in autonomous weapons systems. China, in particular, has made significant strides in recent years, alarming Western military planners. This arms race is driven by a complex interplay of factors, including national security concerns, economic competition, and technological prestige. Each country fears falling behind, believing that it needs to develop and acquire these weapons to deter aggression and maintain its place in the global order. However, this relentless pursuit of military superiority could have disastrous consequences. As more and more countries acquire autonomous weapons, the risk of accidental conflict, miscalculation, or unintended escalation increases exponentially. The world could find itself on a slippery slope towards a future where machines, not humans, control the fate of nations. Section 7. Expert Opinions. Warnings from scientists and military leaders. The potential dangers of autonomous weapons have not gone unnoticed. Scientists, ethicists, and even military leaders have issued dire warnings about the consequences of unleashing these machines on the world. They argue that the development and deployment of killer robots represents a profound moral and existential threat to humanity. Over 1,000 leading AI researchers and robotics experts have signed an open letter calling for a ban on autonomous weapons, warning that these machines could lead to an AI arms race with potentially catastrophic consequences. They argue that the decision to take a human life should never be delegated to a machine. Even some military leaders who are typically hawkish on defense spending have expressed reservations about autonomous weapons. They worry that these machines could erode the principles of distinction and proportionality that underpin the laws of war. They also fear that the use of killer robots could lower the threshold for conflict, making war more likely. The chorus of voices urging caution and restraint is growing louder. Will policymakers heed their warnings before it's too late? Section 8. The need for regulation, preventing a dystopian future. The development of autonomous weapons presents a profound challenge to the international community. Without clear rules and regulations governing the development, testing, and use of these weapons, the world risks sleepwalking into a dystopian future where machines have the power to start and fight wars without human intervention. The international community must act urgently to establish a robust legal framework for autonomous weapons. This framework should include a preemptive ban on the development, production, and use of fully autonomous weapons systems. Such a ban would send a clear message that the world will not tolerate the delegation of life and death decisions to machines. In addition to a ban, the international community should also establish clear guidelines for the development and use of autonomous weapons systems that require human control. These guidelines should address issues such as accountability, transparency, and the prevention of unintended consequences. Negotiating such a treaty will be challenging, but the stakes are too high to ignore. The time for action is now. Section 9. A call to action, our shared responsibility to prevent catastrophe. The future is not preordained. We have the power to choose a different path, a path where human judgment and compassion, not cold, calculating machines, determine the fate of nations. Preventing the proliferation of autonomous weapons and the horrors they could unleash is not just the responsibility of governments and international organizations. It is a shared responsibility that falls on all of us. We must demand that our leaders prioritize human security over the pursuit of technological superiority. We must hold them accountable for ensuring that any new weapons systems, including those with autonomous capabilities, are developed and used in accordance with international law and ethical principles. We must also support the work of organizations that are working tirelessly to raise awareness about the dangers of autonomous weapons and to advocate for their prohibition. By working together, we can build a global movement to ensure that machines remain tools in the hands of humanity, not our masters. The future is ours to shape. Let us choose wisely.